Hello everyone, my name is Shahzad Khan. Today I am going to teach you in the mission school from side, that is chapter number 3 of class 7, that is fiber to fabric. Already you read this chapter into the 6th class also, that is your previous class. But without wasting too much time on the 6th standard of syllabus, we'll move to an upgrade level of 7th standard, that is some fibers obtained from plants, as you already studied in 6th class. You also learned that wool and silk fibers are obtained from animals. Wool is obtained from the fleece, that is hair of sheep or yak. Silk fibers come from cocoon of the silk moth. This thing already you have learned in your previous class, but in this chapter you are going to take an upgrade level from where and which kind of animals are to be used for the proper fabrics level. Do you know which part of the sheep body yields fiber? Are you aware how these fibers are converted into the woolen yarn that we buy from the market to knit sweaters? Do you have any idea how silk fibers are made into silk, which is woven into sarees? These three questions I think you will not study in the 6th class, and now you are going to study in the 7th class with a better performance level. Move to the next slide. That is wool. Wool comes from sheep, goat, yak and some other animals. These wool yielding animals bear hair on their body. Do you know why these animals have a thick coat of hair? Because hair traps a lot of air, and air is already known that poor conductor of heat. So hair keeps this animal warm. Wool is derived from these hairy fibers. It's a picture of a animal, that is sheep. Sheep with thick growth of hair. It will be wound out in the time of region, that is warm climates, not in the cold climates or winter seasons. Okay, animals that yield wool. Several breeds of sheep are found in different parts of the country. The fleece of sheep is not the only source of wool, though wool commonly available in the market is sheep wool. Examples are to be taken here, that is Angora goat, yak, camel, alpaca, llama. Then that is the example of getting your picture of Angora goat. It is also given in your book also. Angora wool is obtained from a Angora goat found in hilly regions such as Jammu and Kashmir. Please remind the name as well the place where it will be found. That is hilly regions such as Jammu and Kashmir. Move to here. Next, it is goat. Wool is also obtained from goat hair. The underfur of Kashmiri goat is soft. Please remind in your mind, Kashmiri goat is getting a soft hairs. It is woven into fine shawls called Pashmina shawl, that is famous from Kashmir sides. Next, yak wool is common in Tibet and Ladakh. Please mention these two names in your mind, that is the picture of yak also. Then the fur hair on the body of camel is also used in wool. Llama and alpaca found in South America also yield wools. This is the example of camel. Move to next here, that is llama and alpaca. Clear? From fibers to wool. Now from fiber part, so we are getting a proper wool part, that is for obtaining wool, sheep are reared, their hair is cut and processed into wool, that is rearing and breeding of sheep. If you travel to the hills in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim, or the plains of Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat, you can see shepherds taking their herds of sheep for grazing. Sheep are herbivorous and prefers grass and leaves. Apart from the grazing sheep, rearers also feed them on a mixture of pulses, corn, jowar, oil cakes, materials left after taking out oil from seeds, and minerals. In winter, sheep are kept indoor and fed on the leaves, grain and dry fodder. Then processing fibers into wool. These are some steps which are to be used when a fibers will be processed into a proper level of wool. The wool which is used for knitting sweaters or for weaving shawls in the finished product of a long process which involves the following step, that is first shearing, scoring, sortings, burrs, then dyed, then straightened, comb or combining, and then last is the roll. Moving here, that is shearing. You can easily look at here. This kind of process is a kind of game also, and an activity in which several people from New Zealand, Africa and Australia sides are getting competitions. That is shearing competitions of sheep. The fleece of the sheep along with a thin layer of skin is removed from its body. This process is called shearing. By taking a machine, this people or this person is taking shearing from the body parts, that is the fur. Then second step, the sheared skin with hair is thoroughly washed in tank to remove grease, dust and dirt. This is called scoring. This first part is taken as manually and the second part that is scoring by machines. Then step 3, after scoring, salting is done. The hairy skin is sent to a factory where a hair of different textures are separated or salted. The step 4, the small fluffy fibers are called burrs are picked out from the hairs. These are the same burrs which sometimes appear on your sweaters also. There's small burrs that you are picked out from your sweaters or your t-shirts also. Step 5, the fibers can be dyed in various colors as the natural fleece of sheep is goat and goat is black, brown and white. If you want different kind of wool, then you have to dye them. So this step number 5 is the dye step. Step number 6, the fibers are straightened, combed and rolled into yarn with the help of machines or manually also. Now silk. Silk fiber are also animal fibers which we are getting from silkworms or the life cycle of the silkworm, that is cocoon at the last stage. Silkworm spin the silk fibers. The rearing of silkworm for obtaining silk is called sericulture. Please remind this word in your mind. Your mother, aunt, grandmother, the kind of silk sarees, they have listed the kind of silk. Before we discuss the process of obtaining silk, it is necessary to know the interesting life about the history of silk moth. Lifespan of silk moth, which can be divided here. The female silk moth lays egg from which hatch larvae, which are called caterpillars or silkworms. They grow in size, and when the caterpillar is ready to enter the next stage of the life tree is called pupa. It first weaves a net to the hole itself for properly itself on the mulberry leaves. Then it swings its head from side to side in the form of figure of 8, that is in the form of this, that is 8. Clear? During this movement of the head, the caterpillar secretes fiber made of a protein which hardens on exposure to air and becomes silk fiber. Soon the caterpillar completely covers itself by silk fibers and turn into pupa. This covering is known as cocoon. Please, this covering is known as cocoon. Please remember this word in your mind. The further development of the pupa into the moth continue inside the cocoon. Silk fiber are used for weaving silk clothes. Here you are getting a proper life cycle, that is an adult silk moth, male and female. Then the mulberry leaves on which eggs are leaves. Then here you are getting silkworm. Then proper cocoon shape. In this it will be continuously producing a silk layer of protein through the 8 sections, and inside it will be developing a new level of moth. Moving to here, from cocoon to silk. Now if you are taking the cocoon, how it will be transferred to silk? For obtaining silk moth are reared and their cocoons are collected to get silk threads. For this we are taking rearing silkworm now. A female silk moth, especially a female silk moth, lays hundreds of eggs at a time. The eggs are stored carefully on the strips of cloth or paper and sold to the silkworm farmers. The farmers keep egg under hygiene condition and under suitable conditions of temperature and humidity. Please notice this thing in your simply way. Please. The eggs are warmed to a suitable temperature for the larva to hatch from eggs. This is done when mulberry trees bear a fresh crop of leaves. Mulberry trees, please remember this word. The larva, called caterpillar or silkworm, eat day and night and increase enormously in size. The larvae are kept in clean bamboo trays along with freshly chopped mulberry leaves. Then after 25 to 30 days, the caterpillar stop eating and move to a tiny chamber of bamboo in the tray to spin cocoons. Small rakes or twigs may be provided in the trays to which cocoons get attached. The caterpillar or silkworm spins the cocoon inside which develop the silk moth. Now the second process is processing silk. A pile of cocoon is used for obtaining silk fibers. The cocoons are kept under the sun or boiled or exposed to steam. From this process you are getting the proper level of fibers from silk. The silk fiber are separated out. The process of taking out threads from cocoon for use as silk is called reeling the silk. Please understand the word reeling the silk and notice in your textbook. Reeling is done in special machines which unwind the thread or fibers of silk from the cocoon. Silk fibers are then spun into silk threads which are woven into silk cloth by weavers. Here you can get the mulberry trees, that is a rearing of silkworm. A, that is female silkworm, moth with eggs, proper development of egg. Then B, that is the tree leaves, that is leaf of a mulberry tree on which it will lay the egg. Then larva, caterpillar silkworm feeding on mulberry leaves. Then after that they are getting proper level of cocoon. Then the main thing from where the silk is come, that is called silk route, and where the silk route started will be from the place China. Here it is not a kind of very unsatisfied thing, but China is the first country which developed the silk. The exact time of discovery of silk is perhaps unknown. According to an old Chinese legend, the Empress Si Lungqi was asked by the Emperor Huang Ti to find the cause of damaged leaves of mulberry trees growing in their garden. The Empress found white worms eating up mulberry leaves. She also noticed that they were spinning shiny cocoons around them. Accidentally, a cocoon dropped into her cup of tea and a tangle of delicate threads separated from the cocoon. Silk industry began in China and was kept a closely guarded secret for hundreds of years. Later on, traders and travelers introduced silk to other countries. This route they traveled is still called the Silk Route. So I hope so you are getting the proper level of Silk Route and from which country it will be origin. So if you are getting any kind of problem in the chapter number 3, fiber to fabric, then please comment on us and make eager so update we can our knowledge as well as example to give you a new definition with new example. Hope you. Thank you.